First tonight, a schoolgirl's terrifying ordeal, robbed, then dragged inside a Western Sydney police station with a knife at her throat. Her alleged attacker was a stranger, an 18-year-old woman who police believe wanted to be locked up.
Kylie Balawagaga cut a lonely figure at Bankstown Court. No supporters, and even sadder, it seems she wanted to be here.
One more note this evening, what could have been another school attack was the plot foiled. A Maryland teenager this time arrested at school. Police say he had a gun in his backpack and a knife in his pocket. A school officer questioning 18-year-old Alwyn Chen after getting a tip that he was armed. This 9mm in his backpack. At home, police found several more weapons, including an AR-15 style rifle, plus a list of grievances against fellow students.
Sometimes you're scared, you know. Can't scared. My daughter, she said, "You're a bit crazy, yeah. You're crazy, man."
And our reporter Michael Kropp is in Titahi Bay, where there's been commuter chaos following last night's weather event. Part of State Highway 1 was forced to close due to a destructive high tide. Our reporter Michael Kropp is there. What more can you tell us?
Kia ora, Daniel. Well, State Highway 1 between Pukurua Bay and Paikakariki.
When these store employees wouldn't sell a Florida man beer, cops say he assaulted them with hot dogs. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says 35-year-old Kevin McDaniel was caught on surveillance video, first throwing a hot dog at the people behind the counter, then jabbing one of the workers in the face with a corn dog stick.
Let me guess, an hour has gone by, and instead of liking every post on social media, you're getting sad looking at everyone else having such a good time. Can you say FOMO? Well, it's time to stop blaming social media for being lonely. That's the gist of a new study from the University of Kansas. Researchers found all of that scrolling didn't cause social displacement or the loss of face-to-face communication with family and friends, according to Moneyish.
In terms of Kylie's demeanour, it's very, very sad.
Yeah, it is a sad matter, but I can't make any comment at the moment, I'm sorry.
Yesterday afternoon, she is accused of approaching a frightened 16-year-old schoolgirl at this bus stop opposite Bass Hill Police Station, armed with a kitchen knife.
She has demanded property from the young girl who was waiting outside the police station, held that knife against her throat.
One day I gotta lose you. Yeah.
There.
In the bank. Back in 40 years ago, there was nothing. Right now they're breeding now, all over.
Don't go there, go this way. Where is he?
Is still down to one lane with massive log jams, perhaps as far back as the township on either side. So that's a bit of a problem, and they're asking people to stay away if they can. Now, when we were able to take a drive along that, it was pretty clear why it was down to one lane. There were washouts in some parts. You could see that the asphalt was shredded like a ribbon. The footpath was missing, the guardrails were gone.
Police say the victim was left with a red mark under her eye from the stick. McDaniel was charged with battery, touch, or strike, as well as a probation violation, and was denied bond at a hearing.
Critics have said for a while this was the case. Instead of seeing loved ones in the flesh, people became hermits. Instead, the new research shows if people used social media earlier in the day, they weren't more likely to be by themselves later. They still had direct interactions with people. They got out of the house, hung out with friends, or talked on the phone. Researchers first focused on how much time early adopters spent on social media between 2009 and 2011.
Loved ones paid their respects to a teacher who died a hero in the Florida school shooting. The funeral for Scott Bagel was held in a Boca Raton synagogue. His fiancée, Gwen Gosler, had known how the 35-year-old wanted to be remembered. The couple, who met at a Pennsylvania sleepaway camp where they both were counselors, discussed it while watching TV coverage of another mass shooting, according to the New York Post.
Having stolen the girl's phone, Balawagaga allegedly dragged her inside, the knife still at her throat, and was talked down by a young constable, Jordan Day. It was a one-way ticket to jail, deliberate, police believe. She has obvious, really serious mental health problems, her lawyer told court. She's a very troubled woman. She's asked me not to apply for bail.
And there were not just branches washed up onto the road, but small logs as well. And I spent some time in Paikakariki this morning where locals said it sounded like a jet engine just constantly throughout the night, keeping them awake.
Gone through the beach, these huge logs, and they were crashing against the rocks. So those are the noises that were coming in.
Legally, we cannot identify the teenage victim. We spoke with both her parents today on the phone. They say she is recovering, but is still very much shaken by what happened yesterday.
Very distressed. Didn't look happy at all. To see that with the police station being taped off, it was very unusual.
A month after Detective Sergeant John Breder was stabbed and days after Jack Kolikow died in a struggle over his arrest, an officer was forced to negotiate with a woman with a knife.
They wanted to see if they were talking to family and friends any less, since they were using social media more. Nope. Same thing happened in a second study of 116 people researchers observed themselves in 2015. Still, Moneyish points to a study from the University of Pittsburgh from last year, which found people who spent over 2 hours a day on social media had twice the odds of feeling socially isolated, compared to folks who scrolled for 30 minutes a day or less.
The surge also makes a big noise. And the rain and the wind, so it's all quite a scary sort of a moment, but you finally get to sleep a little bit anyway.
So we're in Titahi Bay now, where the storm surge has hammered these historic boat sheds behind me.
And while the victim's family was unequivocal today, they did not want to appear on camera. There is one message they really wanted to get across, and that is their admiration for the police. Not only how they handled this situation here yesterday, but the care they have shown since. Now, from what I understand from the girl's parents, she has taken the day off school. She will take the rest of the week off as well, and will be back on Monday, Mark.
OK, Robert Avadia at Bass Hill. Thank you.
You can see that we've lost the front doors to them, we've lost the walls as well on quite a few. Now, the locals who own these are a little bit upset. They'd quite like the council to see if they could provide a little bit more assistance, actually any assistance, perhaps even bins, because their real fear is that the debris that they've been cleaning up this morning will just get washed back in at the next high tide within a couple of hours and just undo all the repairs that they've done this morning.
He told her, quote, "Promise me, if this ever happens to me, you will tell them the truth. Tell them what a jerk I am. Don't talk about the hero stuff." The geography teacher was shot while trying to save students in his classroom after a gunman opened fire. He was one of 17 killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High in last week's mass shooting.
I was speaking with one chap in his 70s who said he's been frequenting the area for 65 years, basically living on the water, and he said he had never seen anything like this before.
Michael Crop, thank you.